Well, race fans, we're going to take a moment here to talk with one of our Hammer Down iRacing League drivers, that of course Devin Johnson, who I have to say my favorite scheme that he has is one of his late models, white and orange, and you can see that car from anywhere on the track. And I guess I'll start with that question before we get into the real deep questions, Devin. The idea behind that, it reminds me of an Alan Kawicki Hooters type paint scheme. Is that what you went for?
It's close. It's based first to put in thing. It was sponsored by Hardee's restaurants through a guy named Stan Schultz when I used go-karts. And those were kind of my best years of go-karts. And I always loved the white and orange combination that was run by the likes of Alan Kawicki, Kelly Yarbrough, and on a local level, the car is actually designed after a Willie Kraft 1985 late model. So the base of the car itself, the white and the orange, is pretty much exactly how he had that car in 1985.
Awesome. I love the opportunity that something like iRacing gives us to be able to customize these paint schemes and do throwbacks or come up with something that's just completely different and we make it our own. And obviously that's something that you do quite a bit with J-Skins Racing Graphics and the J-Skins Racing team.
Yep, along with me and Jason Brown, we were kind of the main paint guys for J-Skins. I kind of been trying to do it on my spare time. I've been around the sign business through my grandfather and my uncle, so that's how I kind of got involved, and then opportunity came to paint alongside Jason Brown. So I've been, kind of painting cars for guys on our team and starting to branch out eventually into painting on a much bigger scale.
Now you talk about, how you got involved in the graphics, industry, but let's talk about, how you got involved in racing and not just iRacing. I mean, reading the profile, which, any of the fans listening can see on hdirl.com/driver-bios. Tell us about how you got into the sport of auto racing before iRacing.
Well, it's a good right off the start. I was kind of born. My father had a big passion for racing. My grandfather used to paint race cars. My father was a flagman, so I always went to a lot of local races. And then at the age of about 11, I got involved in the go-karting and raced against a lot of the big local names that are now up in late model or modifieds, especially. In North Iowa, Southern Minnesota area, and I raced for about 6 years at Southtown Speedway in Forest City, and then for a couple of years at I-90 Speedway in Blue Earth, Minnesota.
And then you got your start in iRacing in 2012. Now, there's quite a bit of time there between 2012 and then, when Dirt came out last year in 2017. So when you first started in iRacing, what was your draw when you first got going? Was there a series or type of car that you kind of drew close to?
I had a bunch of friends that we kind of all got iRacing all at the same time. So we started off with the C-Class asphalt, so like the NASCAR trucks, the nationwide cars, and especially the Cup car. We, for a long time, part of our team was running the NIS series, and then kind of when Dirt was kind of starting to come out, I kind of, essentially decided to try to come back home to the type of racing I really loved, which is Dirt, just because of you can move around a lot more than you could on asphalt. So that's why, that's how I kind of got my start in iRacing, honestly.
So now that iRacing has transitioned to Dirt, and it has both Dirt and asphalt, but Dirt seems like it's really wildly popular right now. Do you have a favorite track on the Dirt side? Now that we have quite a few to pick from now.
My favorite track is actually Knoxville, in part because it's my home track, being from Iowa, and I go there every year for the Knoxville National for the sprint cars, and hopefully as much as I possibly can for the late model shows. I just really like racing Knoxville, just because of the prestige of that track. and the challenge of trying to be fast on what is essentially almost a hammer down, no pun intended with the league, but really a hammer down track for the late models especially. Try to get as much speed because you're talking, a tenth can separate an entire field sometimes there.
Absolutely. As far as car goes, do you sway more toward the late model side? If we asked you your favorite car?
Yeah, more the late model. I run sprint cars on a Sunday league with the Upstate Racing League. But I would say I'm more into the late models, and it's just because I grew up around the late models and modifieds more, being from the Northern Iowa, Southern Minnesota area where it was, modifieds were king, and then IMCA late models, and rarely we would get like the World of Outlaws or the now Lucas Oil Series would come in town, and those were kind of like, the big guys in that area.
Well, as far as, we'll give you a couple of questions to close off of here. I've got two more for you. One is, since you've joined up here with the Hammer Down League, what has been your experience, and what would you tell somebody that's getting involved in terms of what there is to offer?
Well, I mean, it's a really great league overall. There's many classes for you to choose from. So, judging by the schedule, we run pretty much every major dirt, and I think you guys run an asphalt late model league or something like that, or whatever, one time in the league or during the week. So you always have your option to be able to stick with one league and run multiple classes. For people getting onto dirt is just kind of learn the cars. If you're coming from a real world background, use it mainly to develop your skills as a driver. The great thing about the dirt side and iRacing as a whole is you don't know who you're gonna bump into. There's many times that I ran into guys like Ricky Thornton, who's a big name on the IMCA modified series. I've ran into Rico Abreu, Kyle Larson, and many others who have run the World of Outlaws sprint cars. So that's the huge thing too for being essentially an iRacer like me, is being able to run against the Kyle Larsons and the Rico Abrews and the Ricky Thorntons and see how I would do on a skill level compared to those guys.
Well, we appreciate the time learning a little bit about how you got involved in your career and things of that nature. Before we let you go, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about some of the folks that you work with or have helped you along the way.
Okay. So my car is sponsored first by J-Skins Racing Graphics. It's me and Jason Brown. We are kind of the painters through that. So if you're looking at some high quality racing schemes for pretty much any iRacing car, look us up on Facebook, J-Skins Racing Graphics. Otherwise, my other sponsors are Superior Parking Lot Sweeping and Painting, and Johnson Design Service, who have been with me since my go-karting days, kind of my dad and my uncle. Tri-State Power Washing Services. If you're ever in the Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota area, give him a call. He'll be able to clean up anything from farm equipment to houses and anything else you might need. We have Wild Bill's RC Hobbies out of Knoxville. If you're ever down there for the Knoxville Nationals and you're looking for parts for your fancy RC cars or looking to getting into that particular hobby, give a look up to Wild Bill's. And then the other main one is Bud Light Orange is the new Bud Light variety out, plugging an alcohol beer sponsor. Look out for it on shelves this year. And then also the tie-in with the whole paint scheme is Willie Kraft. His son, Sean Kraft, runs Kraft Fitness. And they're kind of also attempting to possibly bring back the Kraft Racing Car brand. So if you're ever in the Texas area and looking for a really good trainer, look Sean up on Facebook.
Awesome, man. Appreciate the time, and luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
All right, race fans, that is Devin Johnson, driver of the 84 machine here in the Hammerdown iRacing League.